Welcome, all you X's and L's. The war is over. Our G40 Enderman Invitational House Rule Playtest game. Ugh. The carnage. Ugh. Yep. Our players were LT as Russia and France, Enderman 103 as US China, PROZACH, UK Europe, and UK Far East Command, or the FEECs. Fecal matter. Created by Larry Harris. The WARDEN as Germany and Italy. Me as Japan man. Look at that. Look at that map. The Allies surrendered. Yes, they surrendered. That's why this song. It was a good one. But we didn't fear it. It ain't Christmas, but next best thing. Perhaps better. We had a great game. So, let's see what the Atlantic looks like. See, Britain was poised up with something. So was America. But also Germany was poised up for something as well. Germany and Italy and North Africa well in hand. We had a factory for Italy. And Southern Africa doesn't look too good for the British. Oh, look at all that stuff. The Air Force and Kriegsmarine and Luftwaffe. And of course, unfortunately, LT's Russia is no more. Mainly Germany, Warden's Germany, and his Italy, taking much of Eastern Europe and promising to gobble up some more. Well, my Japan is gobbling up to Siberia and practically all of China. Still have a lot of stuff in Tokyo Bay. Enderman poised to do something. I know, I just know it. And PROZACH's FEECs, or Far East Command, was poised for something too. Look at all that stuff. Still has Australia and New Zealand. Even had a couple of the Money Islands. Yeah. The Air Force just prevented my Navy from doing anything in the South Pacific. Just transport, but just out of range of his Air Force. Just take what I can. Of course. Look at that. My Air Force and some ground units in Hong Kong, Fui. And they're just poised for defense against all that stuff. PROZACH's FEECs, Air Force, and grounders. Oh, I just had to go it alone against China, the FEECs, and I had to deal with the Russians too at the time. You know, I did eliminate them, but just barely. And of course, Enderman'S US. It's a pain in my backside, my axis. I had to protect Tokyo Bay and Japan all throughout the game. It's a pain in my side. So, but with the axis poised to get practically all of Africa and the rest of Russian territory, getting it all that up. And it looks like they're going to rush it. I mean, the Germans and Italians of Wardens were just prepared to gobble up the rest and go into China, and perhaps even through India's back door. So they were poised to help me, and I needed it too. And I don't think Enderman's America could have done anything about that at the time. You know, it looks like you wanted to do something in the Atlantic. Also PROZACH's European British were poised to do something as well, but Warden has something planned for that. Me, I'm just holding my line, just waiting for help from Warden. It looks like I was about to get it, but the Axis are going to win this one. They're going to get the victory points. America's just too far away of Enderman'S, and Africa's about to be lost. And it's probably be a hard toehold to get on into the European mainland. So the the Allied forces wisely just called it, because it was just been too hard to get back the needed territories to threaten the Axis forces. China was about to fall. Well, if it wasn't for Russia falling, then I think PROZACH and Enderman would just push through eventually. I would just hold on for dear life. Oh, dear life. So we were in the 6th round, so we played about, technically 5 1/3 rounds. We stopped with my Japan before the Allies called it. Capitulated wisely, because it would just go. No one wants to go through 15 rounds, and it very much looks like the Axis was going to win this one anyway, so not much point about doing what? About 9 more rounds. Nah. On a YouTube game, I don't know. I don't think anybody would be interested in that. It would have been fun for me and Warden and me, but nobody else. Oh, really? Despite us not playing any else, but it leads up to 31. And this should have been 8, not 10, 13 IPC for the Free French. This should have been 8 IPC to spend. America had, 53 to spend? British Europe had 29 to spend. Whoa. And Warden's Germany, they had 56, 57 to spend, plus 21 for the Russians, so they had close to 80 IPCs to spend the next round. Ugh. China was down to 5. The PROZACH's Feeks was 30. So still respectable. And Japan was that 56? I was surprised. I was up that many. I thought I'd be down at this point in the game with the kill Japan first strategy from Enderman. But he just couldn't get anything going. So let's see. I wrote some of this down. Well, let's go for the unit losses, shall we? Well, since this is 5 1/3 round, so it's it's not really indicative of what 6 rounds could have done in the IPC losses units for each nation. So let's start with Germany. They lost a lot. They lost a lot of infantry, mainly, and quite a few artilleries. Their subs, of course. They didn't lose they did lose some of their air force, and they lost a lot of their mechs as well. So they lost 47 in the 6th round, mainly going against the Battle of Moscow. It puts them over the 300 mark. 300 club, 312 in marks. Ugh. Whew. So Germany was doing well, but they paid a very dear price for it. Very dear price. Let's put that over there. So now let's see. LTs. Russia. Let's see what he did in losses. Oh. All those infantry. Most of that. chips were 10 chips. Oh, yeah, it had to be over close to 80, maybe 90 in infantries. Of course, they lost. They didn't have much tanks or artillery or air force, but they lost them regardless. Their AA guns and quite a few of their artillery as well. So let's see what they lost. They lost 89 in the Battle of Moscow in this round 6. Oh, and it puts them in first, clearly first in the lead of IPC unit losses at 420 rubles. To be the only one going to the 400 club. Now, let's see what Japan did. My Japan. Mine was scattered about in units. The only serious Navy I lost was a cruiser and an aircraft carrier, but I did lose quite a few Air Force, 6 fighters and a dive bomber. Lost a few grounders, mainly infantry losses and horses, a few artilleries. And let's see what my total is. And I think I was in second place, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. 336 yens. They lost 22 IPC losses in round 6. Put them up to 336 yens in IPC unit losses. Yeah, well, with that 4 nations going against me, it's not surprising. Of course, I'll be in second place, but first in losses of the Axis forces. Now let's see who else. Who goes up to Japan? Oh yeah, Enderman'S, U.S. and China. Let's see what they've done. They lost a lot of Navy and quite a few Air Force as well. Ooh, actually lost 6 fighters and 6 dive bombers. Don't look right. There's always something falling. That is a lot. Lots of carrier, a battleship, a couple of cruisers, and support ships. They lose too many grounders though. That indicates what they lost in convoy, which is just once in the Philippines. Let's see what they lost. In this round they lost 23. Round 6, so they're pushing further into the 200 clubs. $226 they lost this round. In this game. Let's see what the Chinese did. Chinese lost about 31 troops, and of course their only remaining Flying Tiger. But it does push them. He lost 6 in this round. It did push him into the 100 club. 103 yuan's lost. And let's see who goes after him. Britain. PROZACH Britain. Let's see what the British Europe losses were. Yeah, well, look at that. A lot of Navy is lost, but that's mainly in the first round. They did lose quite a few tanks and Air Force. Oh, look, what, 7 fighters and 7 tanks. Oh, not too much else in well, they did lose about 8 troops, quite a few artilleries, 5. Like I said, a lot of Navy they lost. So I believe they're in third place at 229 pounds. They lost 70 in this. No, I don't think they lost. They didn't lose that in the round. But 300, they didn't have a chance to play round 6. But 329 in pounds in unit losses put them third place. Barely. I think I only had second place by 7 IPCs. So Let's see what Italy, Warden's Italy did. Yeah. Did lose mainly their shipping in the first round, or second round. For a small nation, they didn't lose too much, actually. They did lose a few grounders, but it was mainly in the Battle of Sudan, if you saw that one. Oh. So, let's see what they lost. 168 liras in 5 rounds. They didn't have a chance to have round 6, but 168 liras. Still not in the 200 club, but I think they would eventually got there, mainly. If we played more. But barely, I think. So let's go to PROZACH's FEEX, or U.S. Far East Command. UK Far East Command. Doe. They lose a lot of Navy. As mainly in the second round they lost it. They lose a few troops, a couple of their tanks, but mainly their Navy that took the brunt of the IPC losses. So let's see what they were 161, so still not as much as the Italians, but they did lose 6 in this round. No, they didn't lose 6. Yeah, well, they might have. I'm not sure. $161 lost in IPC losses. And finally, LT's France. Yeah, France can't do much in this version. They lose. I'm counting also the Vichy. Also, since they're collaborators with French. Anyway, so I added their losses as well. Most of this was in the first round, the Battle of France. But eventually they lost all their Navy, whatever it was, their Navy, and lost a couple of planes. And let's see what they lost. 107 in francs, so they were in the 100 club as well. But just barely more in China, over 103. So, let's see. And since this was Enderman'S house rules that we were play testing, I'm gonna give my opinion on my likes, dislikes, or kind of likes of his house rules. It's just constructed. It's just my opinion. It doesn't reflect what others think. It's just my opinion. So don't take it wrong, Enderman. It's just my opinion of what I do dislike about some of your. Actually, just really only one thing I really dislike of your house rules. In fact, of my likes, I'm gonna adopt some of them in my own house rules as well. So, likes and dislikes, and kind of likes. Let's start with the likes. I wrote it down here. Well, the Vichy French rule, I loved. I think that's the best thing I loved. I love those rules. And if you in YouTube land don't know what that is, check out his first video of introduction of his house rules that we're doing. But I did love the Vichy French rule. Loved it. I'm going to adopt it in my rules when I get the chance. Let's see, the second one, even though it's really not his own house rule, he adopted from others, about the Far East Command. I love that rule as well. Loved it. Where it combined Anzac and the British Pacific together as one nation in the Pacific. I loved that. I think I love that even more than the Vichy French, and I love that. Love that. I'm certainly going to adopt that in my house rules as well. But I loved it. It really balances out against the Japanese, so the Japanese don't become a huge monster. They were kind of a monster to me. I couldn't get Calcutta without any help. No way. Let's see what else I love about them. Chinese tanks I loved, even though it wasn't really in this game, because most of the time Burma Road was closed. But I didn't think that would really help because they are expensive. But I think it's a good option to go to of Chinese tanks, even though you only get 2 for China. You had to buy them through the Burma Road, but I think it's a good option. I think if this game went on properly more, I think we would have saw the Chinese tanks in this one. And let's see. The other one I love too, we didn't get to it, but it's a very good option about Rome falling. How it been transferred to the Germans. I love that rule. We never got to use it. I don't think we would have been using it anyways. But as an option, I love that rule. Loved it, loved it, loved it. So all those likes I mentioned, I love those rules. So let's go into kind of likes. Well, I mean I kind of like them, but I think if you tweak them a little, Enderman. In fact, I'm going to adopt some of them and kind of tweak them myself for my own house rules. Let's see. The U.S. Lend-Lease I kind of liked. I mean, I like how the U.S. able to Lend-Lease destroyers to the British, even though I think it had been tweaked a little. I'm going to adopt it in my house rules. I'm going to tweak it a little to make it more realistic. Now, the Lend-Lease to China, I kind of liked, but I wasn't too much in love about. Even though I do believe America should supply China, no doubt, because China needs the help. And let's see, I just don't want the way it was adopted. It's how they can magically appear in Chinese territories. I didn't like that too much. I thought it was unrealistic. But I do believe if you tweaked it, Enderman, I'm going to adopt it and tweak it in my house rules of Lend-Leasing to China. I did like it. Well, kind of like anyways, if you tweaked it a little bit. Let's see. Concerning Yamato, I kind of like that too, even though I never built it. It's just too much to build. I think either they should start out with a Yamato class battleship, at least one of them, or at least pay to upgrade one of the battleships to be a Yamato, because it was built in 1940, at the beginning of the war. So I think I would like to adopt that rule, but tweak it a little bit. Let's see what else. The elite troops I kind of like too, but I think it should have been applied to all nations, not just the Germans and Russians. I think if you tweak that for all nations, if you tweak it a little bit, I think that would have been a great rule. I think I'm going to tweak it for my own house rules as well. And we adopted it late into the game, I like the Siberian Railroad, though I think it could have been tweaked to do 2 units just instead of 1 like Sire Blood did. I think Sire Blood's kind of limited, but I think if you tweaked it to 2 units, like a transport carries units on their transports, I think it could have been done the same like for the railroads for Russia. I like that rule if you tweak it a little bit. Now partisans, I kind of liked, even though I didn't think it applied to the Japan, but looking over your video, you did say it applied to all the Axis forces. But you graciously let me have my way with that. That doesn't affect Japan on the Japan side of the board. But I did like it against the Germans, at least on the European side. If you see with this divider, I think it could have been should have applied to help Russia out. If you tweak it a little bit, I think they don't think you should have any partisans when Russia falls. I don't like that at all. I think it should have ended there. But if you tweaked it a little bit, I like the partisans for Russia. Cavalry, I kind of liked, but I think horses in World War II was more like pack animals, not really for war. They just carry stuff. Even though it did help my Japan tremendously. I mean tremendously. I could have done it without it though, especially on an Allied point of view. But I think cavalry should only apply only to China and Mongolia, of course, like Cireblood has his. So I think that was kind of cavalry from my Japan's really unrealistic. Unrealistic for all but one nation. I think China needs them. Also Mongolia. So I think it'd be good for China to have cavalry, in my opinion, just like Cireblood has his. Now let's see. Let's go to my dislikes. Factories. You know, it did help me. A factory in Korea. And of course, we started a game with one in Emur, but it really doesn't. It didn't really help the Russians, anyways, because I captured that right away in round one, and it was been useless anyway. But the Korean factory was tremendously useful, but I don't think Japan should start out with one because they're too powerful of a nation as it is. So I don't think both those nations shouldn't start out with factories at all. They should earn it by buying it. I think it's kind of unrealistic. Japan should at least buy it. You know, it did help me out. Let's see, what's another one I didn't care for. Another one, victory points. I really didn't like that one, to tell you the truth. I didn't like it at all. I mean, the victory cities is just enough for me, actually. Not being too critical to you, Enderman. I know it's your baby, but that's just my opinion. Maybe other guys liked it or loved it. I didn't care for it. The victory points. You know, us Axis forces would have gotten it eventually. But I think sticking with the victory cities, I think is good, but maybe tweak it a little bit. I think in my house rules, Japan should at least add at least one more victory city or victory condition to their 6. And my thinking is they should control all of China to get that 7th victory city. I would have made all of China as a victory city, a victory condition to take. So Japan should have had, in my house rules, Japan should adopted 7 as well. 7 victory city conditions to take instead of 6, like the out-of-box rules indicate. And also, I was disappointed that you couldn't adopt tech in this game. I think if we tweaked it a little bit, you could have adopted the anniversary style of getting technologies. If you tweaked it a little, I think it would have been perfect for this game. And that's what I'm going to do in my G40 house rules. Yeah, so let's see. Okay, mistakes. Well, I don't think really Warden really did any serious. He didn't make any serious mistakes in his game. This is just an opinion. I think in the first round he should have bought all grounders instead of a destroyer in the first round. But it didn't cost him anything. It didn't bite him in the butt later, anyways, because obviously he got Russia. But if Russia made a strong stand with Allied help, I think that would have bit him in the butt for not buying all ground units in the first round. I think he bought a destroyer and something else, I don't know, along with some grounders he did buy. But that's the only little mistake I think he made. Now I made 3 mistakes. It's just 2 that you haven't. 2 you allies didn't catch on. First one is I should have bought a destroyer in the first round for Japan, because Enderman had a submarine in the area at the time. He could have convoyed it, and my destroyers were far away at the time when I went after Emur. So I should have built a destroyer, because he could easily, with his sub, put in Tokyo Bay and get me for around a round or two in convoying damage. But instead, he went to against at the time, my battleships into Okinawa. He tried to convoy that, but he mistakenly did so, and eventually got his sub destroyed, which was one of his mistakes. But he wasn't familiar with that rule, but he paid dearly for it. Another one of my other mistakes was, at the time, I think it was round 3, Tokyo Bay. It was 3 or 4, I forgot. When I went after Siberian, well, actually, Soviet Far East. I should have gotten that, but I didn't. His AA gun destroyed my fighter, and it went downhill after that. You know, odds were that I should have taken over the Soviet Far East, but it got me so riled up, and I was ranting. If you saw my video, I left my very little, how you say, of a Tokyo Bay fleet in there at the time, and what force you had at the time, they could have taken me out. But I purposely left 3 kamikazes to defend that force at the time. I think they intimidated Enderman at the time. It was kamikaze, but he could have taken that small Tokyo fleet out at the time. He could destroy both of my battleships easily, because he had since I lost the Soviet Far East battle, he had a landing strip for his planes to go into Tokyo Bay. So that was my mistake, but it didn't. It didn't catch up on that. So that's 2 mistakes that the Allies didn't catch on. Well, one that did. My third mistake was landing 3 of my aircrafts and my AA gun in Kui Chau. PROZACH took me out. We put all his, at the time of his small air force and a couple of tanks into Kui Chau. Took it all. Losing only 2 tanks, but against my 3 aircrafts and AA gun. He couldn't shoot down not one of his aircrafts with my AA gun. I thought I'd be intimidating with my AA gun, but he wasn't intimidated. And he took it out of 3 of my precious aircrafts at the time. So he made me pay dearly for that. So after this, I wasn't cocky. You should see right there. All my plays in Hong Kong Fooey. I was gonna fall to that mistake again. Let's see. Now, Russia's mistake. They shouldn't have left all their forces in Amur, because I wasn't really. If you left that bear with just 1 infantry and Amur LT, I wouldn't have attacked it, even though factory at the time. It wasn't worth it to me if you had done it that way and initiate the Mongolian rule. I didn't want to do that. But you did put all your forces on Mur, and I had to attack it, because you would have attacked me eventually anyways. You know it, LT. I'm not a big fan of breaking the non-aggression pact, but if it's presented me like that, I'm going to. And of course, you split your forces into the north and south, and you did fortify Leningrad. You should have just pushed back to Russia. And you know you did. You know you made that mistake. Well, I'm sure you won't make that mistake next time you're Russia again. Let's see now. What's PROZACH? PROZACH's British Europe. They made a mistake of putting all their stuff in the Sudan. So that made Italy attack them and wiping all that force out. Both forces, with the exception of Italy's Air Force, but it did help Warden clear the way to Africa. And let's see what. Oh yeah, and PROZACH's Fix. I think it was around 2 or 3 when they took over the Money Islands. They also mistakenly left their warships in those 2 zones as well. And I had a little force. I had a little force right there at the time. I couldn't pass that up. I had to attack it, even though it brought America in at the time. But if you didn't put most of your navy in those 2 zones, I wouldn't have attacked you. Because I didn't want America coming into the war prematurely. I was going to do it at J3 or 4, but Warden talked me into it. He saw me, maybe see reason to attack it. I did promise him I'd do a J3 or 4 to help him out, his European front, so the Americans would leave him alone. But he gave me his blessings, and he talked me into attacking it at the time. So that was, if you didn't do that, PROZACH, I think you would have been even better off in your British Pacific Force as well. Let's see. I really didn't do any mistakes. Let's see. Now, Enderman. Mistake you did was not, like I indicated, attacking that Tokyo Bay little force at the time, was the second or third round. I forget when. You should have attacked that. That was one mistake. Second mistake, kill Japan first strategy. I think that's a mistake. I think that was just doomed to fail. All you do is make the European axis that much stronger by not helping out with Russia and Britain in the Atlantic. Just going make only about 95% into the Pacific. I think it's a mistake. I mean, I can hold my own against that. I've seen it before, so I was expecting that when I attacked. Brought you into war prematurely, even though I didn't want to, but I had to take that British Navy out. Thank you, Warden, for talking me into it. Even though foreign nations was against me at the time, I didn't mind. I was expecting it. I had a plan for that. So that's it. Going on 37 minutes on this baby here. Also, okay, I'm not gonna go through all the units lost individually for each nation. I'll just make this video to go till I'm by. We'll try to put it on my comment section. I'll pin it to my comment section of this video, and the total losses for each side as well in IPC units. Let's see. All there is to do is an invitation to our next game. I would like to do G40 with the British Far East Command adopted into it, to that game, to make a 7-player game for a G40. I'm not sure, maybe out of the box, the rest, or maybe my own rules, I'm not sure. But I may make a video out of that, but I'm going to hold the invitation to us 5 players. Well, it's because me, Warden, PROZACH, Enderman 103, and LT all joined that one. That's 5 players. The other 2 players I'd like to join that 7-player game is Piletto 69, or otherwise known Piletto 51, or P51. He changed it, I think, because he likes those kind of World War II American planes. P51 or Piletto 51. I invite you to join us. And Corporal Clegg 2. I invite you to be that 7th player as well. I don't know who's going to be who, but we'll decide upon that. And if someone wants to be out of that, can't join us in that game, well, then a spot's open for anybody else who wants to join that. But right now, those 7 players, including me, will be invited to that game. And I know Corporal Clegg doesn't have room for a full map, so we're gonna have him choose a nation, which is mainly on one side of the map, like the FEX or the FEEX or the Far East Command. Maybe Japan if he wants. I would like to have Japan myself. Of course, he won't want China. Or on this, on the Europe side of the map, he could be either the British Europe, Italy. I'm sure you don't want France. No, for France, it's really nothing. Perhaps Germany. I don't know. Who knows? Well, we'll decide to. We'll iron that out if you decide to join us, Corporal Clegg. Hope you do. I'd like to have those 7 players play the next game, maybe in about a week or 2. Hopefully by a week, in my opinion. But people are talking 2 weeks. But I like to get me and Warden are just dying to get a game started. Oh, he knows it, I know it. We all know it now. Oh, so that's it. We changed the course of history. The X is won. Oh, baby. Yeah, this video's going over 40 minutes, so I'm going to stop. But, hope you all enjoyed that. And stay tuned for hopefully our future game soon, within a week or 2 of our game. And any of my opponents, 5s and 6s, please, roll them when you're playing against me. Fight, fight, fight. Bite, bite, bite. Don't let me out.